This question is for Mr. Pinkham and General Spellman, both of you. Want to spell out a little bit about the congressional I serve, just for starters. I represent the northwestern corner of the state of Illinois, also going all the way into central Illinois. So right out my river, out my window right here is the Mississippi River. I'm sitting here in Moline, Illinois, just up from the Rock Island Arsenal. And then we've got the Illinois River that runs through the southern part of my district. Altogether, we have 8 locks and dams in this congressional district. Obviously, inland waterways are very, very important to the congressional district that I serve, and also to the nation. So the upper Mississippi River system is the only river system that Congress has designated as a nationally significant transportation corridor and nationally significant ecosystem. 60% of our nation's grain exports travel along the upper Mississippi River, including many of the crops that are grown in this congressional district that I serve. We're one of the biggest producers of corn and soybeans in the entire nation. So the Navigate Ecosystem Sustainability Program, it is NESP. It was authorized to modernize 7 locks along the upper, while also providing important ecosystem restoration. So I want to first of all say that I appreciate the Corps' inclusion of pre-construction engineering and design funding for NESP working plans. However, we desperately need construction start to get moving on these projects. An unplanned closure of Lock 25 alone would result in about $1.5 billion lost to our economy. So let me start with this question again to both whoever would like to go first. How does the Corps actually determine which projects are next in line? General, you can start. My time is getting eaten away.
No, ma'am, I'll go ahead and start. So as you know, we work with industry and the Inland Waterway User Board to prioritize the next set of projects. I will tell you that the capital investment strategy that was forwarded to Congress in January has NESP very high. It's in the upper tier. So we recognize the importance of modernizing this infrastructure. We have to get these projects ready for construction so we can make the argument for the New START authority. So with the $5 million that we received in the 21 work plan, as you said, that's going to advance the design on lock and dam number 25, the mooring cell at Lock 14, and one environmental project in Illinois, the Twin Island Shoreline Protection Program. So that's the work we have in front of us now, is to get these projects ready for construction so we can make the argument for the New START authority.
Gotcha. Mr. Pinkham, anything to add to that?
Well, being relatively new, I'm still learning the budgeting and decision-making process of the Corps, and I'll do my best to be brought up to speed so I can have an answer for you in the days ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Pinkham. Second part of that question, General, I'll address this to you. Is consideration given to the fact that these are single lock chambers, meaning if there's an unplanned closure that happens on a single lock, that movement along the river is completely halted at that point, to the point I made earlier, this severe economic impact when it's like this. Is that figured into the equation?
Yes, ma'am. It absolutely goes into our calculus because of the lack of redundancy in that part of the system. We had a similar challenge when I was in the Northwest on the Columbia and Snake River system. So in short, yes, ma'am, it goes into our math.
Okay. Let's turn quickly to flood response. Again, as you can imagine, when the Mississippi River is right outside that window right there, we look very closely at flooding and flood response. A couple years ago now, the Midwest faced really this catastrophic flooding, as you know. So for months, locks along the upper Mississippi were closed. So again, we had to halt the movement of goods because of that flooding, not to mention the property damage and the impact to the growing season. So while Congress passed hundreds of millions of dollars for this emergency response, such as dredging that we had early in June of 2019, of funds took months. And so while relying on emergency funding is never the ideal scenario to begin with, is there a better way to streamline the process so we can get our communities relief faster when it comes to emergency scenarios?
Ma'am, I agree. I don't think we can get this money in the ground fast enough. I'm very familiar with what occurred on the upper Mississippi and the lower Missouri in 2019. There were needs everywhere, but we agree we were going to work hard to expedite the construction of these very important projects on the concerns of public safety.
Okay, maybe we can drill down a little bit deeper when there's, more than the 5 minutes that we have during this. But with that, Madam Chair, I'll yield back in general. Thank you very much. And Mr. Pinkham, thanks to you as well.